Hey guys, it's two chubby sisters. And if you're seeing this, yesterday was Valentine's Day, so we hope that everyone had a great Valentine's Day. Ate lots of chocolate. Maybe you got some flowers and goodies.
And maybe you bought them for yourself.
Yes.
Because you can.
But the question is, why do we celebrate Valentine's Day? Where did it come from? What's
the point
of it? So that's what this video is going to be about. We're going to kind of dive into the origin and where it came from, why we started celebrating it. It goes back thousands of years. So basically, of course, we've done a little bit of research, and you can see, yes, we're old school. We do handwritten notes. We've done a lot of research on this, and it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And so we're going to dive into this. Basically, as obviously some people know that it's called St. Valentine's Day, actually. Or back in the day, they called it actually the Feast of Valentine's. It's actually a Christian holiday. Mm-hmm. And it started back in 269 AD. And it was basically after what they called two martyrs, Christian martyrs. Back then, most of the martyrs were named Valentine.
For some reason,
they could name a lot of them Valentine. So they say that Valentine's Day originated from two. But some people think that they actually were the same person. And that was actually Saint Valentine of Rome and Saint Valentine of Terni. The one of Terni, they also knew him as Bishop of Terni. So basically, he was a ministry, basically a priest. And in the Roman, back then in the Roman times, he would keep, for people who, basically anyone who went against the Roman church and Roman that, they were basically persecuted. But he felt like they still deserved to get their...
is it basically people who didn't live up to the standards?
Yeah. And he felt like they should still continue to, get their religion. And so he continued to minister them. But why it's connected to Valentine's Day of love is he actually married soldiers. So back then, soldiers were not allowed to get married. They were banned from getting married because they felt that if you didn't get married, you didn't have any family, you didn't have anyone that you could rely on, you'd be more dedicated to the cause. And basically, if you give your life, it's okay because you have no one waiting for you, type of thing. And
you would be more likely to give your life in the service of the military.
So because of this, him marrying them, and because he continued to minister to people who were persecuted, he was imprisoned. And when he was imprisoned, his jailer, they found out that his jailer's daughter was blind. And they claimed that St. Valentine restored her vision. I don't know if they thought he was...
like Jesus?
I don't know. I don't know.
Lay hands
they
on her
basically said that he restored her vision. And but he was sentenced to execution. And he wrote a letter to the daughter that he restored the vision as a farewell letter. And when he signed it to her, he said, "You're Valentine." So a lot of people think that that's kind of where it came from whenever we give Valentine's cards or say that it's from your Valentine. And so then in 200 something years later, I'm going to say his name wrong, Pope
Gelasius.
Pope Gelasius
the first
decided to declare February 14th as Valentine's Day, or the Feast of Valentine, because that was the day he died. And so then there's also, it kind of ties into it, but it's not directly connected. I don't know if people have heard of, there's the festival of Lupercalia. This is a pagan holiday, and it's basically a festival to purify the city, to promote health and fertility. And he basically, Pope just didn't like. He wanted to use basically
because it was a pagan festival,
yeah.
so he didn't like it.
So he wanted to use the Christian views of it to push Valentine's Day to basically get rid of the festival. But he actually had it banned for a while, but I believe they kind of still celebrate it to this day.
Yeah, a lot of information from back then is a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Because recorded history is not.
But then you go into the other history of a lot of the mythology.
The mythology, not so much, it's not directly tied to Valentine's Day, but it's kind of a lot of the symbolism that goes along with, like, the Roman mythology of Cupid, and you see it on all the Valentine stuff, the little chubby cherub who, with his little bow and arrow, shooting people with arrows, making them fall in love. That's the depiction of, like, a child, basically a child or a baby in a diaper and all that, and that's the Roman side of it. The Greek myth side of it is the god Eros, and he was described as, like, a very handsome, immortal man that, basically the way they describe it is that he did this for his own amusement, that he would shoot people with his golden arrows, and even the gods his fellow gods were not immune to his arrows, and he would just meddle in their love lives, either making them fall in love or kind of pushing them into, back then were basically forms of depravity, or like having affairs and stuff like that. But it was basically for his own enjoyment. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of like, that symbolism kind of always ties into Valentine's.
What was the thing about the birds too? They said that it was the two birds fall in love. It's like
one of the countries say that I think it was Slovenia, say that they, and other European countries say that two birds, because that's kind of the beginning of mating season in February, is the mating season for birds, and so that birds would fall in love and propose to each other during that.
So I mean that's kind of like a lot of the things is like basically,
I guess that's where like the cherub, like
the
Cupid with his wings and stuff, came from the bird stuff.
But what's interesting too is that it's celebrated all over the world, but it's celebrated differently
and at different times.
It's not always in February 14th. So the main ones that are like February 14th is basically the U.S. and UK. From what we can, I mean, everyone kind of does celebrate in February, but that's kind of like the only time that we really celebrate it, and they really celebrate it.
On the actual day of Valentine's.
Actual February 14th. America spends a lot of money on Valentine's Day. From what in 2017, it says that we spent 18.2 billion dollars. So they basically broke it down and said that's about $136 a person that is spent on Valentine's in 2017.
And you figure there's 320 million people.
Yeah, and it continued to rise after that, but then by the next 2 years later, it actually started slowing down. So the last couple of years, it's actually going down. And they said the three main reasons after polling it was one, they hate how commercialized it's become in the U.S. Mm-hmm. It's become more about making the money and like
spending the money
than it actually the true meaning of like feasting about love and everything like that. And the second one is most people are single now. People don't want to be in relationships anymore. And I think people are getting out of the stereotype that you have to be in a marriage successful or that you have to be in a relationship. And people are like, no, you don't. You don't need to get married. You don't need to have to be in a relationship. Just be happy being you. And another one is just, people just don't care. Yeah. They really just don't care. But it is interesting to see
even amongst couples.
Yeah, and even amongst couples are like, we just don't celebrate it. But it is interesting to see how other like countries do it. Like a lot of the Asian countries, they do it. I think I know like South Korea, Japan, I think China as well. They do it in like 2 different days. And it's basically Valentine's Day and what they call White Day. So now, I know Japan, Valentine's Day is where the girl gives to the boy
chocolate. And now you got to remember too, these are all based on very heteronormative boy-girl couples. And they don't really most of these are not based off of anything else other than...
So they say the girl gives chocolates to the boy, and then the following month on March 14th, the boy gives her a non-chocolate gift.
Like hair ribbons or barrettes or a little bracelet or something.
But
non-expensive.
What's kind of interesting, it actually is in South Korea, they basically have some type of sort of day like that every single month. On the 14th of every month, they have like Rose Day, Kiss Day, Wine Day, Green Day. Like there's
Green
like
Day.
yeah, they do like different ones. Or Pepero Day, and they say Pepero Day is November 11th.
And if you don't know what Pepero is,
It's kind of like if you guys
little biscuits, long skinny
stick,
biscuit
like,
stick with chocolate on
it's
it.
similar to like I don't know if you guys have Pocky or
Pokey.
but yeah, but it's like biscuits on stick. So it's like basically two of them together, like a couple, and it's 11/11 because it's November 11th is when they celebrate it. But yeah, so like they do something every month, but the three main ones that they do is White Day, Valentine's Day, and they actually have a so that's February, March, and then they do one in April. It's called Black Day, and that is with someone who doesn't celebrate either because they are not in a relationship or didn't get anything on those 2 days, and they go and eat black bean noodles, which I think is awesome.
And they're delicious.
Yes.
In Wales, they
was
celebrate on January 25th, and it's called St. Dwinwen's Day. And what they do is men give women a love spoon, and it's a token of their affection. Wooden spoons were carved like with intricate detail by the men and given to them. As in, it's become so popular that they even like you can get them in chocolate now,
Yeah.
like in chocolate form.
I think it's cute.
It's very cute.
And then was it Argentina?
Argentina, they have a whole they celebrate theirs in July, and they celebrate a whole week. It's called the Week of Sweetness, and it's basically celebrated the same way it is here. You just exchange nice gifts and romantic gestures.
Latin America, I like how the way they do it because it's not just like love between like a couple. A lot of their cultures, like, well, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this. Like, they said Costa Rica, Mexico, and Puerto Rico, they do Dia de los Enamorados.
Enamorados.
I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. It's the Day of Lovers, or Dia de Amor y la Amistad, Day of Love and Friendship. So it's like common to see people perform like acts of appreciation for their friends. So it's not just like a day of like, couples like blah, blah, blah. It's like Noah's Day. It's like
kissing,
I love my friends. I love appreciate you. I love my It could be like a whole group of friends going out. Kind of like I guess similar to our Galentine's. Like I know America's become like Galentine's the day before Valentine's. It's like just
all
girls.
your group of girls go out and just have fun.
In Guatemala, it's Dia de la Carnito, which like I guess is translates to Affection Day. Some countries in particular, like Dominican Republic and El Salvador, have a tradition called Amigo Secreto, which for their Valentine's. Is it Secreto? I'm sorry, I'm butchering this Spanish. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this. Basically, it's the secret friend, which is like basically.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
Basically, it's the equivalent of like Secret Santa that we do at Christmas time, except for they do it for like Valentine's. It's a secret friend. Brazil, they have like they do theirs actually in June. They don't celebrate it in February. They do celebrate on June 12th. A lot of people think it's because it's the day before St. Anthony's Day, which is known as the marriage saint. And basically single women go to, they do these rituals called simpatias. And it's basically a ritual to find a good boyfriend or husband. Again, it's the heteronormative gestures. They don't celebrate on February 14th because it normally falls around Brazilian Carnival. Is about the same time as normal Valentine's Day, and that's why they don't celebrate it at that time. And they actually, it's become a good big tourist destination at Valentine's Day to go to Brazil because if you're single, because of the fact that you're not going to be pushed on all the Valentine's stuff. It's going to be pushed on you. You just go there and get away from it all, which is
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and do that.
In the Philippines, it's all about weddings. They literally, hundreds of couples will all get married on February 14th in mass weddings. They'll even have like where they try to break the record for most people kissing at one time, and like you'll literally see just rows of couples.
Like we were looking at pictures and there was just like all these couples just getting married at one time.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat.
One that because obviously Ireland is
we're
another
Irish, so we're.
And obviously, I know Ireland's a very Christian,
Catholic country.
But they do, it's like basically a Christian pilgrimage. They have a shrine at the Whitefriars Street Carmelite church.
So we'll put White Friar up.
Yeah, I'll put it up here somewhere so you can. I'll print it up. In Dublin. So basically, they say that there's relics there from the actual Saint Valentine, and people go there and pray at the shrine for love. And there's actually a book there that has got literal like little prayers and pleas from like locals and foreigners from all over the world to please send them love and find a partner. So that's kind of neat too. But it's not all about love some places for Valentine's Day.
There's also, move on to the dark, there are several countries where it's actually banned. Valentine's Day is banned, which is like Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, and other countries that have a more Islamic culture. They kind of feel like that goes against their religious beliefs, so it's just it's just out and out banned to have Valentine's Day because it's a Christian.
It's a Christian holiday, yeah. It's not.
And then like in India, it's not illegal, but it is frowned upon because they kind of look at it as unwelcome influence of Western culture. So,
yeah, like I think it was India or I don't remember which one of them it was. Basically, the actual holiday itself isn't banned, but it's like what you do to celebrate it, like giving the cards, the chocolates, the flowers.
Yeah,
that is like banned. But yeah, it's interesting, and it's interesting. I think too cool. How do you see how it's literally celebrated differently all over the world?
But how it's actually, but at the same time, it's similar. You know.
Yeah, it's similar but different, and it's how it's evolved. And of course, like I feel like the meaning behind it and like where it origined and how it, because if you read the original origin, it's like how it had to actually do with romance and love. There really isn't anything there about that, yeah. But somehow it over the time it got turned into.
It's kind of like she was saying earlier that when we were talking about it, it's kind of like a big game of telephone.
Yeah,
where like what it started out with and what it is now is a completely different thing.
And I feel like, of course, you know, because it goes back to like more than 2,000 years. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's like it was at 269 AD is when they declared, or when Saint Valentine died. Like, can you imagine how the story's been told and how it keeps getting added or changed or exaggerated or whatever. And
actually, which we didn't really mention in a lot of these, some of these countries have not been celebrating it for that long.
No, yeah.
It's kind of fairly new,
yeah.
As they're kind of, as
early as the 90s. Like, some of them were like, oh, it got popularized. And some of that was because of, it was kind of funny, actually. I think one country, they said the reason why it became known was because of MTV. Because they didn't really celebrate it, didn't really know anything about it. And then MTV aired a show about writing letters to your Valentine or something like that. And that's how they discovered it. And that's how it started to grow and become part of their culture.
Yeah.
Which is, it's interesting how things come about. And it seems weird because here in the US, it's been such a big part of our culture. Like, we've been celebrating it forever. You know, like, it's just,
yeah, I mean, like, you always remember being a kid and wanting to go to the store and buy your little Valentines for your class.
And but to think about it, that there's some cultures that just don't celebrate it. But,
and that, also worth mentioning, like for us, like what we did as a kid for Valentine's, like our mom would make sugar cookies and get cherry chip frosting, and that's because nowadays you're not allowed to take homemade stuff.
Yeah.
But that's how we. That's a memory for us,
like Valentine's. And
Valentine's.
Yeah, and to this day, even our parents still buy us stuff for Valentine's.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that Valentine's isn't just about couples; it's about spreading love. Love in general. I think like that Valentine's should celebrate a love, and like in the one country, it's basically appreciation for the people that you love.
So.
I hope that was interesting for you. It was interesting for us.
Yeah.
Again, I hope everyone had a happy Valentine's Day, and
we hope you enjoyed the video and you stayed all the way to the end and
hit that like button,
hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Bye.